You're staring at a blank page. You're replaying a conversation that went wrong. You're looking at a project that just completely fell apart. And every single book, every mentor, every motivational poster tells you the same thing. Learn from your failures. They tell you to fail forward, to fail fast, to embrace the suck. They say failure is the greatest teacher. But what if that's a lie? Or at least a dangerously incomplete truth? What if analyzing your failures is actually the slowest, most painful, and least effective way to get better? What if the secret to breaking through, the secret that separates the good from the truly legendary, isn't found in the rubble of your mistakes, but is hidden in plain sight, inside the one tiny thing you did right, the one thing you were taught to ignore? Stay with me, because this one mental shift is so simple, you'll wonder how you ever missed it. And by the end of this video, you're not just going to understand it, you'll have a practical tool that could fundamentally change the way you approach every single challenge for the rest of your life. This is the story of the Success Autopsy. Let's talk about Abraham Lincoln. We all know the legend. Failed in business, lost his sweetheart, had a nervous breakdown, lost 8 separate elections before finally becoming president. His life is the poster child for learning from failure. It's the story we're told to make us feel better about our own setbacks. And it's true, he failed a lot. But here's the part of the story they never tell you. The critical detail that changes everything. Lincoln didn't get better by just staring at his losses. He didn't sit in a room after a lost debate and list all the reasons he was terrible. That leads to despair, not the presidency. No, Lincoln became a thief. He became a forensic investigator of success. He was obsessed with great orators, the ones who could hold a crowd in the palm of their hand. He would get his hands on the transcripts of their speeches, and he wouldn't just read them. He would dissect them. He would break them down sentence by sentence and ask, why did this work? Not why did my speech fail, but why did this argument persuade? Why did this metaphor land? What is the mathematical logic behind this emotional appeal? He was performing an autopsy, not on a dead body, but on a living, breathing success. Think about the profound difference in that approach. When you analyze a failure, you're faced with a million possible reasons. Was it my tone, the time of day, the argument itself? Did that person just not like me? The data set is noisy, chaotic, and infinite. It's overwhelming. Your brain doesn't know what to fix. But when you analyze a success, even a tiny one, the data set is small and precise. Let's say you gave a 10-minute presentation and it was a disaster. But for 30 seconds, one person was nodding along. That's it. That's the gold. The old model tells you to analyze the 9 minutes and 30 seconds of failure. The Lincoln model, the Success Autopsy, tells you to ignore all of that and put those 30 seconds under a microscope. What were you saying right then? What was on the slide? What was your posture? What story were you telling? The reason this works is rooted in psychology. Our brains are not designed to learn from a sea of abstract don'ts. They are designed for replication, for mimicry, for do this again. When you find a small, specific thing that worked, you give your brain a concrete, positive instruction to follow instead of an abstract negative to avoid. This applies to everything. You're trying to build a writing habit. You failed to write for 6 days this week. The old way? Beat yourself up. The new way, on Tuesday, you wrote 1 good paragraph. Why? What was different about Tuesday? Oh, you did it first thing in the morning before checking your phone. Boom. That's the lesson. Not be more disciplined, but write before the phone. You're learning a new skill, like playing the guitar. You sound terrible, but you played 1 chord change, cleanly, just once. Don't focus on the 99 fumbles. Stop. Replay that 1 clean change in your mind. How did your fingers feel? What was the pressure? Do it again and again. You're building the muscle memory of success, not failure. This is why top athletes watch game tapes of their best plays, not just their errors. It's why master chefs don't just taste the burnt soup, but they taste the perfectly seasoned sauce to understand the balance. They're constantly performing these micro-autopsies on their successes to find the replicable essence of what works. They are hunting for the signal in the noise. For so long, we've been sold this romantic idea that we have to earn our stripes through suffering and spectacular failure. It's the Rocky narrative. You get beat to a pulp and then you win. But the real world for most of us is quieter. Progress isn't a single knockout punch. It's the slow, deliberate accumulation of tiny, almost invisible wins. The fear, of course, is that if we don't fixate on our failures, we'll become arrogant or we won't learn. But the opposite is true. Analyzing failure often crushes your confidence and makes you afraid to try again. Analyzing success builds a quiet, resilient confidence based on actual evidence. You start to see yourself as someone who, at least occasionally, gets things right. And that belief changes everything. So here's the challenge. I want you to try this for just 1 week. I call it the 7-day Success Autopsy. It's simple. At the end of each day, I don't want you to journal about what went wrong or what you need to do better. I want you to find one thing, one tiny moment that went well. Maybe it was one email you wrote that got a quick positive reply. Maybe it was a moment in a meeting where you explained something clearly. Maybe it was just that you managed to drink enough water. It can be that small. Write down what happened. And then right below it, ask the Lincoln question. Why did this work? Drill down. I used bullet points instead of a long paragraph. I sent it at 9 a.m., not 4 p.m. I anticipated the one question they would ask and answered it preemptively. Find the specific, replicable action that is your real lesson for the day. That's the brick that you can use to build tomorrow. Imagine doing this for a week, a month, a year. Instead of having a diary full of your shortcomings, you would have a literal playbook of your own personal success strategies proven by your own experience, a blueprint for your own peak performance reverse engineered from the moments you shined, however briefly. The biggest lie we tell ourselves is that we have to wait for a giant victory to feel successful. But greatness isn't about waiting for lightning to strike. It's about collecting sparks. It's about having the wisdom to see the value in a single, perfectly laid brick, and trusting that if you keep finding and laying those bricks, the castle will build itself. So, the next time you fail, I want you to feel the sting for a moment. But then I want you to sift through the ashes, not for the cause of the fire, but for anything at all that didn't burn. Find your spark. Study it. Replicate it. Because the path to your biggest goals isn't paved with your grand failures. It's built, brick by tiny brick, from the successes you were taught to ignore. Now, I'm genuinely curious. What's one tiny success you've had recently that you completely ignored? And if you were to perform an autopsy on it right now, what do you think made it work? Drop your discovery in the comments and let's build a playbook together. See you in the next story, where we stop chasing perfection and start replicating what already works.